Today we are discussing tips and strategies for backgammon. Our focus is going to be a little bit less on odds, even though we have the odds of the dice there, and more on concepts such as the end of the game when both sides got to move pieces. We'll look at some examples of moves there to do or that are preferred. We're also going to look at a couple different strategies, such as when we're ahead versus when we're behind and we're trying to make up ground. We're going to take some chances to try to look for moves that potentially have upside depending on what we or our opponents roll. So let's go ahead and get started. Two contrasting in-game scenarios here. The one on the left, white needs 59 points to win, while blue only needs 40. So blue is technically ahead, but if you look more closely at the structure, you'll notice if white gets a couple fives or a couple sixes, they're much more likely to get full value for those rolls. So the number is understated there. Whereas if you look at the scenario on the right, you'll notice that white needs 50 points to win, while blue needs 81. So while white is winning by a bunch, the gap is not as big as it appears. For example, again, if blue were to get a couple fours, a couple fives, or a couple sixes, they can close that gap and make it a much closer game. In this example right here, we have basically two choices with our roll. We could either play it safe or be really aggressive. By play it safe, I mean, okay, we put one over here and we move one piece over here. We can't get hurt. Our opponent can't get hurt. Now, we could always take an aggressive approach as well. If we back that up a little bit, instead of playing it safe, we could take this one and move it 6 spots to take out this piece. Now, we get lucky in that they get this miracle roll where they can't move any pieces down. Is that such a great move? Well, not so much. If our opponent was to, say, roll a 1-6, we're going to lose a piece. If they roll a 2-5, we're going to lose a piece and backtrack quite a few points. But in this spot, we get really lucky with our setup to where our opponent doesn't have that. And we indeed got very lucky, as there were only 4 combos of 2-6, being 2 combos for the 2 and the 6, or all 2s and all 6s, 1 combo each, 4 out of 36, or approximately an 11% chance of that happening. In this spot right here, we have a lead. So typically with the lead, what you want to do is try to leave your pieces that are close to getting put away, have them not be vulnerable, and maybe we can gamble a little bit with the pieces on the bottom right-hand corner of the board. So again, we got a 5. We're going to go ahead and roll there, taking the safe move. We could take more risky moves, but again, if a piece gets captured, we would lose our lead in this spot, and we want to try to make it somewhat difficult for our opponent. So there's a 4 and a 2. We'll put those together. Now, of course, we've got 2 pieces that are in a little bit of trouble here, and we get lucky, we get a 6. I'm going to wait on bringing the 2 pieces in the far right, because if our opponent had more pieces in that bottom right-hand corner, doubled up and stuff, then I would be more concerned about getting those pieces out, although at some point we will. So instead, we're going to move this all the way through, and we're going to move this one all the way through as well, getting the next value out of the roll. Of course, if our opponent is able to set up a bunch in the bottom right-hand corner, that's going to be negated. Here we get a 6 and a 1. Going to roll 1 there. And I think we will play one of those. Again, trying to play for safety here. The idea is that if we roll, let's say, 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 5s, we can move these pieces out together. Of course, that's not going to be the case here. But we're gonna try to hold off and see if we can get to that there. And it doesn't always work out. We gotta be careful. opponent does have a big wall there. We got a 4 and a 5. We're going to try to escape now. Our opponent has to roll a 2. Well, our opponent could have played the 2 there, did not. Again, if we capture one of their pieces, we've got our end fairly protected. There's a 5 and a 2. We're going to play the 5. And we will hope on the 2 there. We'll get lucky there. We'll play the 4-1. And from there on, well, this game has an auto feature, but we're ahead. We need to roll 75. Our opponent is 97. So we're going to be in good shape. And we're first to go. So odds are pretty good. We're going to win, you know. I mean, there could be a scenario where they get some big rolls. But you want to be careful at the end. You want to try to manage. We'll play the 1 here. We'll play the 6 here. You want to try to be able to utilize your rolls when you get to the end here, as we've got our pieces spread out on the top right corner. What I mean by that is you don't want to throw away big numbers if you can avoid it here. And it looks like our opponent has that in the scenario too. We get a 3 and a 6. We'll play the 3 there. We'll play the 6. And maybe if we get lucky, we get a couple 2s. We can do something here. But again, in this scenario right here, we're trying to manage. We basically tried to manage a big lead and played conservatively. If we were losing, we may want to play it different. We may want to take some chances and put pressure on the opponent. Like we took a chance early on in this game to get a small lead, and then we went on from there and tried to leverage that. But yeah, that would be an example of how you play when you're ahead versus, you know, how you play when you're behind. In this scenario right here, we're down about 60 points, which is a lot. We've got our defense set up in a way to where Blue's going to have some issues. We might be able to recapture. Obviously, a 5-1. We're going to take and just move up here. Actually, we'll move this to here. And we get lucky. They roll a bunch of 4s. So there is one piece exposed. We can roll either a 1, a 6, or some combination of an 8. And we'll capture that piece. We get a 6 there. So now our opponent lost 12 points. Well, that actually gave us 12 extra points there. We are going to play this 2 to the corner just to protect it, just in case. Our opponent gets a 4. We roll a bunch of 1s. In this scenario right here, we're going to shore up this defense. So I'm going to go ahead and capture that piece there. They're going to need a 4 or a 5. Our opponent needs to roll a 4 or a 5 here. And if you look at the dice combos, we're going to notice there are 11 different combinations. However, 2 of them are single combinations, while the other 9 are doubles. So what that means is we're going to multiply 9 times 2. That gives us 18. And then 2 times 1, we're going to add 2 to 18. That gives us 20. 20 out of 36 combos our opponent can roll to get out, which comes out to about a 55.55% chance of getting out of the spot right here. Next is I'm going to spread out our pieces in the back. If they get captured, they get captured. We're looking to be able to capture Blue's pieces as much as possible so we can cover this gap that we're behind. There's a 3 and a 5. Let's see, what can we do here? We can't do that. Let's see. We'll go ahead and put that piece to here. Let's see the roll, a 6 and a 5. Okay, we have some options for the capture. Let's play the 2 here. And we're going to play one of these pieces in the back. Well, this one right here is the 4. So we've got some options to capture here, recapture the piece. We can roll a 3, a 6, or an 8, I believe, or some combination. We get a bunch of 6s there. So we're going to put these 2 6s in. We're going to put these 2 6s here. And now our opponent needs to roll a 5, which it does. But we had a decent defense there. While we're losing, we still have an opportunity, and we get lucky. We get a bunch of 1s. Now we can go ahead and utilize that. We're going to recapture. Our opponent's going to need to roll another 5. It does not. So our opponent needed to roll a 5 to get out. If you look at these dice here, you'll notice there are 6 different combinations that have a 5 in it. 5 of those combinations have 2 combos, while one combination, these 5s right here, that only has 1 combo. So we get 11 out of 36, which means our opponent has a 30.55% chance of rolling something with a 5 in it. So we're able to make up the points there. I'm going to play 6-5 here. Let's see. Or, well, maybe not. Let's see. Let's instead play this all the way to the end, and then we'll play the 6 there. Our opponent needs to roll 5, which it does, miraculously. And now we're going to try to take the points. We're down a little bit, but we've covered the gap. The question is, can we get enough? That's a big roll right there. A bunch of 5s. Put that in, and we'll put this to the end there. So we're actually ahead by 1 point, but our opponent has first roll. So structurally, I think we've got a good structure where we can still realize some of the high-value rolls. The question is, I guess we'll just see here, and that's going to take away the end of our structure. Now, this one can go either way, but again, we've been able to close the gap as much as we could. Our opponent got lucky with a lot of 5s. I think luck plays a big factor here. Strategically, you want to try to do as good as you can. This could legitimately go either way here. Let's see, 2 and a 6. So we're going to maximize the value of those rolls. Like I said, this one can go either way. If our opponent rolls basically 2 2s, or no, they don't. If they roll 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s, they would have won there. So we get lucky and pull off the nice place with the